G'day guys, so we're back here, Lake Travis, and we're going to give you a rundown on exactly how the tournament went for me. Unfortunately, 69th position, missed a check by 1 pound 13 ounces, and that was due to one fish that I didn't weigh in on the first day. I had 4 fish, needed 5 fish. Very important in these tournaments, but saved some good points. I've had 2, mid to above midfield finishes. Lake Travis should have been a lot better to me. I literally caught hundreds of fish over the period, the week that I was here. Fortunately, just didn't get those big bites that I needed. One big bite would have rocketed me where I needed to be, but we're going to take you out on the water right now, and I'm going to show you how I found some of those fish and how I used some of my graphs and give you a bit of a rundown, and we'll overlay that with some of the fish catches over the week. So let's go get them. So we're down the dam end of Lake Travis, and we're going to go and hit it. The first spot that I ran to, it's just outside of the major creek, and it was a big rock bluff wall. These played a huge, my hummingbird Helix Megas played a huge part in getting me every single fish that I caught. And as you'll see, I cast back 3 fish that I saw on my graphs on this bluff wall, and I caught all 3 of them. So first day limit, these were a huge player, so let's run up there and check it out. So we've just pulled up on the first spot that I fished on the tournament. It's a big rock bluff wall, and something that I've gained a lot of confidence in over my career here in the US is bluff walls. I spoke to a diver about 5 or 6 years ago, and he said at any time of the year, no matter what it was, he said fish were always on bluff walls, and they were at different depths. They used them as highways, and I talked to him in depth a lot about why they were there and what they were doing. They're great transition periods, they're great staging areas, and they're great feeding areas. So this bluff wall kind of doesn't look bluffy, but it has big chunk rock in it. And this is a little point that sticks out, so it's not just a big, long, flat bluff wall. It's a nice sharp point, and this is where I caught my 3 fish before 8:30 to kick off the first day of the FLW tour. Okay, so straight up in the morning I pulled up on this point, and I was firing casts up onto the bluff wall, trying to get those fish that were up early. And I end up coming up onto this point, and I saw 3 good fish sitting down 25 feet. I've got my back on these front graphs, I've got them set up to read that back sounder, and I could see them on the back. So I spun around when I saw those fish, and I threw my jig, 3/4 inch jig, back like that, and I let it sink in 25 feet of water, and I caught all 3 of those fish, just slowly working that jig. But if I didn't have that sounder set up, I would have missed them on the front, and I would have been firing casts up to the bank. So those 3 fish straight up in the morning, bang, 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 keepers, all come because I had so much faith and trust in my front hummingbirds. So anytime I'm fishing a bluff wall, I'll actually start off casting directly at the bluff wall and then working it down. Because a lot of the time, those fish could be sitting up way up there in a foot of water, and then I'll work it down. I'll work it down to 3 foot, 5 foot, 10 foot, right down to 25, and then my boat can be sitting in 40. But I'll just walk it down those shelves. And I've had so much success doing that, but the key is patience, and it's slow. So after seeing the amount of bait and amount of fish on this point, I really worked back and forward. I just worked the primary areas where I knew those fish were going to be. And so straight up in the morning I started getting some bites up shallow, and then my best fish of the day come right in this corner on that football jig, and just working it up, caught a small one, and then next cast caught a nice one. So with the weather heating up, I knew those fish were wanting to head shallow, and I started running sort of small points, shallow points that had some flooded bushes just like this. And as I idled into one area, I found about a 3.5 pound bass that was choking on a big bluegill. And I looked at how fresh it was. You'll see both fish swam away, they were still alive. And I saw the wind direction, how old they were, and I knew that fish ate that bluegill in that area. So I instantly picked up a swim jig rod, cast free, Accents, Shimano. I fish a braid leader setup, so I have 20 pound leader, so it's nice in this clear water with an FG knot. And then I picked out a Bassman swim jig, and I put an orange trailer. I tried to make it look transparent like that bluegill. And in 3 casts, thrown up against those bushes, bang, I caught my biggest fish of the day. So that was a pretty cool little feeling. So on the second day, I caught my entire limit of fish out of deep trees, from 15 to 30 feet of water. So what I did on my Hummingbird mapping here, I marked my magic area in green. So anywhere that was 25 to 27 feet was coming up in green, and I could concentrate that my search on that area. And then when I found a tree like this, I could mark it, and I could go over to it. I would hit mark, waypoint. Now I could find it on my front graph and lock down on the spot lock with anchor, and then on my Ultrex right here. And that's gonna hold me directly over that tree. No matter what that wind does, no matter what anything does, it's gonna hold me on that tree. Now you can see the drop shot just went down. It just caught the drop shot. It's going into that tree. And then I'm gonna shake that drop shot in amongst that tree. And as you'll see, that's how I caught my whole limit. Using a Miller Rod Spin Freak, so a little bit more power down low. I'm using nice 8 pound braid. I'm using like a 14-foot leader, fluorocarbon gamma leader, weedless drop shot, just on a little tungsten drop shot. And I was using 1/2 ounce weight, so when I opened that bail arm, it would just shoot down. So I have my front graph set up so I can have straight sonar. This is directly off my Minn Kota Ultrex, straight down. GPS set up so I can see my waypoints. Now I've got down imaging and side imaging running from the back transducer. And a lot of people don't do this, but I want to cover that much more ground. So all the time I'm always watching this for a separate fish, and that's what caught my first 2 fish straight up in the morning. So I'm looking at the front sander, I'm casting to the bank, and then I saw a rock with a couple fish, and that allowed me to put a cast back behind the boat, back at that back transducer, and catch fish that I wouldn't have seen if I had the setup straight off the front. And then for my jig rod, Miller Rod jig Freak, and I used the power version, Shimano Metanium 8-to-1. I had 16 pound gamma fluorocarbon straight through, and this one is becoming fast my favorite jig in the flipping 4-round rocks, and for the bushes and stuff as well. This is the Molex 10X jig, has the creature bait at the back from Molex, and that's just got so much movement, looks so lifelike in the water. But the big key is that hook. that hook shape, that EWG style, hooks them and keeps those fish on. Big key to my success with a jig has been scent. And as you can see here on the bass cat, I've got a little band here. I've got chartreuse, and I usually have orange there, and then I've got shad, and I've got crawfish bang, and I can just grab that out, crawfish, and I soak this thing. Soak it, and that'll be good for about 20 or 30 casts. I'll see that scent just slowly coming off. And every time within 5 casts of soaking that bait, I would get a bite. They love it when it's cold and it's winter and they're coming up on that bait and they're checking it out, and it's tough and you're working it slow. They get a waft of that crawfish scent and that triggers them to bite. Well, there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed the wrap up of Lake Travis FLW 69th position. I'm getting better each time. This is going to be a great year. Jig Freak, Miller rods with all my Shimano Metaniums, Spin Freak, Stella, Shimano Stella are all the rods that did the damage this week, and just needed that one big bite and it would have changed my whole tournament. But hope you enjoy coming along with us and watching the wrap ups, and we'll have more to come. Harris chain, let's go get them.
And it radiates in abundance. They have all won their bouts in the biggest of moments. And they have achieved greatness as a result. But they all have one thing that propelled them to get there. Work ethic. Do you have it?